Good morning. The book of John is filled with miracles, and it's just like John. He always likes to tell us why he's writing what he's writing. We've already seen in John chapter 20, 30 and 31 that it says many other signs Jesus also did in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book, but these have been written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and by believing you may have life in his name. You know, when he begins to write about a miracle, the miracle is really not the point, but the point is that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Now, the feeding of the 5,000, you're very familiar with that. In John 6, 9, they were at a place, there were a lot of crowds gathered, and they were hungry, and it said there was no food. And there was a boy who had 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. And they said, that's not enough for these folks. And Jesus said, have them sit down. And there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down, about 5,000 in number. And that's 5,000 men. Jesus then took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed them to those who were seated, so also the fish, as much as they wanted. And when they had eaten their fill, he told his disciples, go gather up the leftovers. And they gathered 12 baskets with fragments and 5 barley loaves left by those who had eaten. So there was not enough food. There were just these few fish and the few loaves, and Christ multiplied those things. And you really shouldn't be surprised. In the very beginning of creation, it said that God and Christ created everything out of nothing. Christ could have fed them had there not been the boy with the 5 fish and the 2 loaves. But he used that and he multiplied that. Christ doesn't need anything to do what he does. Lazarus was dead and God called him to life. At the wedding at Cana, there was only water and he turned the water to wine. Christ was doing this to prove that he was indeed the Son of God. And as you begin to follow the saga, you recognize that the people are absolutely amazed. They were amazed at what Christ could do for them. I want you to just pause for a moment and ask this question. Are you more amazed at what Christ can do for you today, or are you amazed at what Christ has done for you in eternity? No, Christ was dealing with people when what he would do was never enough. As soon as he'd done one miracle, they wanted another miracle. The ultimate miracle in the Scriptures was not that he turned the loaves and multiplied the loaves from 5 to hundreds literally, but it's that Christ himself is the bread of life. Christ was not interested in us living meal to meal, but he was interested in us learning that he is the source of eternal life. I hope that today, as you go through your day, that you would be more interested not in what Christ could do for you today, but in what Christ has done for you through faith for all eternity, that he's settled your account in the heavenlies, that he has brought you into a relationship with the Father, and that he has given you full access to eternal life.